Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mastering Mental Wellness with my lovely co host, Sir Isaac. And just off the top, let's go ahead and deal with the issues. This is going to be our last Mastering Mental Wellness for the summer because I've got stuff happening. Isaac has stuff happening, and it's just going to be really difficult over the summer months. So we're going to revisit again come September when school gets back in session and see if we're going to just pick back up where we left off or if we're going to just reserve it for special occasions because we've kind of gone through every topic that's in the list. It's I don't know what
Hmm.
else to talk about. And everybody shoots me messages, with topics all the time, but it's something we've already covered. So it's like, um, so you'll have that on replay. You can always go back and watch another episode, and watch. And then we'll just work on, come September, Isaac and I will get back together, revisit, and figure out where
Yeah.
we want to go from here. Someone else may step up in the meantime and say, hey, I want to do it. So, in which case, that can happen too. So, we're just going to kind of play it by ear. But I just wanted to let everybody know. Um,
Hmm.
that it's going to be a little different, I guess you can say. So, as most of y'all know, I finally have Zoom now, so I'll be able to start doing a lot more stuff with my members that I've
Wow.
seriously neglected for the last several months because I didn't have ways to really connect with them because StreamYard only lets you do so many people at a time. And with Zoom, I can do up to 100 people. And it's like I don't have 100 members. So that's perfect. And if I get more
Good.
than that, then that would mean I can afford to upgrade. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
and, and then, so yeah. So, and then of course, most of y'all know I now do backstage for Arthur at 5:30 on Sundays. So, because as he puts it, he can't walk and chew gum at the same time. This is very true. He can't. And I love him dearly for it, but at least he's willing to admit it. Some people are not willing
Yes.
to admit that they can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
Hmm.
So Isaac, tell us what you've been up to, what you got planned for the summer. I know you're doing high. No, some joke. Messing.
Hydroponics. I got a lot of little projects going on, but the one that's at the top of the list is my hydroponic gardening. I'm right now I just have like basil in the quart-sized jars, and it's called the crack key method. And because the plants have to have oxygen, so you don't fill it totally full with water, except when you first put in the seeds, because you can grow the basil from seeds, but it has to be dark. And I don't have an elaborate setup. I don't have lights or anything. I have it on the edge of my porch, and I just built a little ledge, and I set 6 jars on it, and the basil is growing like crazy. And my plan is I'm just waiting to make pesto. That's my contribution to making sure that
Gonna make some
everybody is fed.
pesto. Yeah, there we
That's it.
go.
I'm gonna make pesto.
Um, oh, my mother used to grow rosemary.
Uh-huh.
It comes out like it's like little spiky needles that come off
Uh-huh.
of the stem, and she
Hmm.
would just pluck out a stem and then just like pull them off and throw them in a
Hmm.
pot.
Yeah.
She used to grow bay leaves. Again,
Uh-huh.
she would just go yank one out of the garden and come inside, rinse it off, throw it in the pot.
Uh-huh.
She did the same with, she grew basil, she grew oregano, um,
Oh.
she grew rosemary. She did thyme for a while, but we didn't use it a lot, so she quit
Uh-huh.
messing with that one.
Hmm.
And there was a couple of other things. She had like mint. She had a mint leaves bush
Uh-huh.
or
Okay.
plant.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times I would throw that in a pot with, like, if I was making iced tea, I
Yes.
would throw a couple of leaves when it was still hot when I poured it
Uh-huh.
in. The trick to Southern sweet tea is you put the sugar in Then you put the hot water in, and then tea bags, and you let it steep. That
Uh-huh.
way the sugar melts like it's supposed to and mixes real good. And
Uh-huh.
when you add sugar after the fact, it tends to all float at the bottom, and you don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't do right. And and so I would usually pluck a few mint leaves off and just throw it
Mm-hmm.
in the thing after I put everything else in there, and then I would
Mm-hmm.
drop a couple of mint leaves, cover it, let it steep,
Right.
and so you'd have mint tea as strong
Mm-hmm.
or as light as you wanted it. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
and I would love to get back into doing that again. I have the black thumb of death when it comes to plants. I don't know what it is. I just
Really?
even ivy that like people say nothing can kill an ivy. Give it to me for a month. It's be dead. I promise you. Um, I don't know what it is about ivy, but I just cannot grow ivy or anything else
Uh-huh.
for that matter.
Uh-huh.
The one time I grew roses of all things, I
Really?
got like a stick. It was just a stick. And somebody said, "Yeah, that's just your rose, just stick it in the
Mm-hmm.
dirt and it'll grow."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was in a rental, so I didn't want to stick it in the yard. So I bought a big pot, ceramic pot, and I stuck it in there. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, it grew the most beautiful ivory colored roses.
Wow.
And the smell of them, oh my goodness, the fragrance was strong. And
Uh-huh.
I could like cut one or two roses off when they were blooming and bring them in
Uh-huh.
the house and put them in a vase. And
Yeah.
within like 30 minutes, the whole house smelled like roses.
Wow.
And that's how strong they were. And when I moved out west, I gave the rose bush, uh, tree bush, whatever they call it, I gave him to my brother and his then wife,
Mm-hmm.
and she replanted them in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they divorced and sold the house and everything, and I was
Right.
like, "Well, where are my roses?" He's like, "They're in the yard." I'm like, "You didn't dig up my roses and bring them back to me?" He's like, "No, I
I
didn't
know,
dig up
right?
your roses." So I was like,
He said
"All
I had a
right,
lot. He had a lot going on.
that's it. There are more important things happening than digging up my roses." So,
Right.
um,
Right.
something else my mother used to grow, and they called it hens and biddies, and
Okay.
it's almost like a cactus type plant. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a cactus, but it's very similar,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like really fat, um, small little fat leaves on it
Mm-hmm.
that if you squeeze them, it's almost like an aloe vera in that sense. You get stuff
Okay.
out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but all you have to do is just like drop a few petals anywhere, and within a couple of weeks, you got a bush growing.
Mm-hmm.
You got them growing up. It grows anywhere. It's one of the few
Wow.
things I've never been able to kill was ants and biddies. Now I'm
Okay.
sure there's a proper name for that. I just don't know what it is because
Uh-huh.
that's what my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother called it was
Mm-hmm.
those are the hens and biddies. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay. Um, it's a succulent. Thank you, Gordian knot. That was the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, today we're going to kind of discuss coping skills. Now, we've been
Yes.
over this several times in the past year
Mm-hmm.
for different ways,
Mm-hmm.
but we kind of thought this would be a good thing to kind of close us
Mm-hmm.
out on,
Mm-hmm.
for the summer, and then we'll see what happens in the fall.
Yeah.
Um, and so, mainly just coping skills. I'm going to let Isaac take it away from there.
Mm-hmm.
While he starts telling you about coping skills, I'm gonna go put fabric softener in my washing machine because I just
Okay.
flipped the rinse.
Okay.
So I'll be right back. I can hear her. I just won't be in front of the camera. So
Okay. As we were talking earlier, and we were saying that, pretty much everybody has coping skills, and we wanted to hear some of the coping skills that y'all use. And sometimes people have coping skills that they don't even realize that they're using. And when we started looking at it, it was like there were coping skills for anxiety, depression, or anger, but they were all pretty much the same thing. So the coping skills like mindfulness, deep breathing, or progressive muscle relaxation. I think these are some things that we learn. Some people, we learn them unwittingly, and sometimes we learn them and we realize that they are helpful, and so we start using them. So that's what we want to encourage everybody to realize: what are your coping skills, and how do you use them? Like, some people, I know some people, Sherry, who say that they like to go fishing. They say it's relaxing. It's not for me. I don't like
No,
fishing,
me either.
and I you don't.
No,
It's not
it's
relaxing. It's not.
no,
And but some people find a lot of relaxation in it, a lot of joy. It's different for everybody. Pretty much, I do like doing mindfulness, like short meditation, maybe in the early morning, which I've done a lot. And short for me would be like 5 minutes. I've done meditations for like 15 minutes or more, but I pretty much uh, get a lot of relief just from 5 minutes. It just helps my thinking to slow down, and help me to, because when your thinking slows down, you get to solve problems. You get
yeah,
to uh, whatever is bothering you comes to the surface. And a lot of times we think, well, I don't want anything to surface. But if it surfaces, that gives you something to deal with, because it's under the surface anyway. It's just
right,
coming up for you to
right.
deal with it.
And I know I mean, I know a lot of people, especially in our community and others, use meditation or guided meditation as a way to cope with
Yes.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of people out there that have put out some really good guided
Mm-hmm.
meditations that are 10, 15, 20 minutes long. It
Uh-huh.
doesn't take that long. You know, it's not like you're spending hours. I can't do that anyway.
Uh-huh.
I do guided meditations because just to meditate on my own, I can't get my brain to shut up long enough for me to
Okay.
do it.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Uh-huh.
constantly running the program of what's
Mm.
next, what's next, what did I forget?
Uh-huh.
Need to do
Uh-huh.
this, I need to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's it's distracting for me. But
Mm-hmm.
I know one of my coping skills is I have to go sit outside every day. I
Oh,
don't care
okay.
what the weather is, how hot, how cold, how wet, how
Uh-huh.
dry, it doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
Even if it's only for 5 or 10 minutes, I
Mm-hmm.
have to go outside and stand in nature every day.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
it's a way that I can like take that deep breath and rest and
Mm-hmm.
recharge at the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, my husband used to laugh at me because he's like, "You're the only person I know of that sleeps outside." Because
Uh-huh.
I could take a lawn chair or a blanket and go lay it in the yard under the tree in the shade,
Uh-huh.
go lay down. 5 minutes, I am zonked. I mean, you could run a
Oh.
freight train over my head. I don't need it. And I would sleep for an hour or two. And he just, in the beginning, he was like, "How can you sleep like that?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's just more relaxing
Mm-hmm.
to sleep."
Mm-hmm.
We lived in an old wood frame house
Mm-hmm.
years ago when Lewis was little, and the driveway had crepe myrtles that lined it going all the way up. And
Uh-huh.
so on the yard side, you had all these big, beautiful crepe myrtles
Mm-hmm.
that had been growing there for probably 50 plus years or longer.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Um, and so they were very big. Hello.
I know, right?
So they were big trees and they had lots of blossoms. And I would go put the lawn chair out, the fold out the 3-tier lawn chair. I'd go put it out under the tree and go
Mm-hmm.
kick back, and I'd be out for the count.
Oh.
And I sleep better. I still do it on the patio here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go sit in my
Mm-hmm.
rocking
Do
chair
you?
at night and I'll just be sitting there rocking, listening to music or
Hmm.
watching something on the phone, and I'll go right to sleep. My son will come home from work because he gets home around midnight. He'll come home and wake me up. Mom,
Uh-huh.
I'm home
Oh,
now. You can go to bed.
right. It's different for different people.
That's
And
right.
I'm sorry
It
about the
is.
phone. But you know
That's
one thing
okay.
too? Some people, for me, and I've heard other people say it, that they'll clean, and that's sort of like a meditation. If I have a project that I'm working on, that's a meditation for me. It's like I'm working by myself, and it's
Yeah.
like things just go through my head. I get ideas, I get
Yeah.
solutions to problems, and it's not like I'm just like really working hard. It's like I'm going through a process.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
that's
got you.
like a meditation to me.
Yeah. And some people are like that. I can do that with some things. I start working on something and I will just zone out. And next thing I know, an hour's gone by, and I'm like,
Hmm.
wow, I only spent 5 minutes on this. I
Right.
got a whole hour into it already.
Uh-huh.
Rarely does that encompass cleaning because I hate to clean anything. I just hate doing it.
I'm
I
not
like to
mad at
have a
you.
clean place, but I
I
hate to
know
do
what you,
work.
I know what you mean.
So and with three guys that constantly make a mess, it gets to
Uh-huh.
be overwhelming sometimes. It's like if I
Mhm.
just keep the kitchen clean at this point, that's I'm a happy camper. It's like I
Uh-huh.
gave up on the rest of the place. It's like
Mhm.
enter at your own risk. As
Uh-huh.
long as my kitchen's clean, I'm okay. Um,
Uh-huh.
but but yeah, so there's a lot. I
Mhm.
uploaded a few graphics. If y'all
Yeah.
want to take like a screenshot of them, you
Mhm.
can. Or you can
I like that.
if you want a copy of it, shoot me
Mhm.
an email and I'll just email it to you.
Mhm.
I got it off of Google, so Um,
Mhm.
but there was that one, and then there was this one, which is
Mhm.
basically the same. It's just a
Mhm.
little different.
Mhm.
But I also thought, this is a really these two graphics are really good to use for especially if you have kids that are stressed out
Mhm.
because they're that way because it's cartoony. I'm thinking
Mhm.
they might would respond to the pictures better. Uh,
Mhm.
but my kingdom for a screened-in porch. I hear you, Gordian Knot. Yeah, it gets bad
Uh-huh.
sometimes. I but there are certain plants. I can't think of which ones they are that you can potted plants that you can put out on your patio, and it keeps the mosquitoes away because evidently it lets off a fragrance that we don't smell, but mosquitoes do, and they don't like it.
Uh-huh. I forget the
And
plant.
it's
I forget the
I can't think of the name of the plant. A lot of times they're just called a mosquito plant, and
Okay.
um, but you can get Walmart, Target, I guess there isn't
Yeah.
Walmart anymore.
Mhm.
Home Depot, Lowe's. I mean, wherever you can buy pre-potted stuff.
Mhm.
You can probably go online to Amazon,
Citronella.
Etsy, and
Okay. Uh-huh.
citronella plants. Yeah, there we go. I know I buy the candles and I'll burn
Yeah.
those, especially at
Mhm.
night. Um, but again, it was with the candles, they burn down and then,
Right.
you got to go out and buy another one. I mean, at least with
Uh-huh.
the plant, hopefully you can keep it alive that it'll
Right.
last. Um, and I know we put up a temporary screen door
Mhm.
for the front door that is like a curtain, a mesh curtain
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
hangs down.
Mhm.
And we put it up, we left it up, we leave it up all the time. We just
Mhm.
have it pulled to the side like a drapery. And
Mhm.
and if we're doing something where we're in and out, we're grilling, something like that, we can open the
Mhm.
door
Mhm.
and just let the screen because it's magnetic in the middle, so it'll
Yeah, I've seen
connect
those.
and hold it.
Uh-huh.
I think I paid like $20 for it. It was not expensive at all.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but it's a good way to it's a good way to be able to have your
Mhm.
some of your
Mhm.
outdoors come indoors
Mhm.
without the bugs,
Mhm.
because they will hide until you go to bed and come out and bite you and drive you crazy. Uh,
Yeah. Well, that's
so
you're on a topic. Another topic of self care is setting up your environment so that it's pleasant,
right,
a pleasant
exactly.
environment. Things that
It's,
bring you joy, things that are comforting. That's what I would say.
I know we had just regular outside plastic furniture,
Hmm.
for the patio, and
Hmm.
um, I had gone to the local grocery store just around the corner just before Christmas, and they had those big solid wood rockers,
Oh, okay.
outdoor rocking chairs.
Hmm.
And I saw them and I went, oh, I want one of those. So I told my son, I said, if you haven't bought my Christmas gift yet and you're still wondering what to get me, I want one of those rockers.
Uh-huh.
So he went over, I think it was Christmas Eve, so
Hmm.
2 days before Christmas. He went over to the store and they had two left that were
Hmm.
fortunately the same color. And one was on display, one was still in the box. And he's like, I'll take them both. They were on
Uh-huh.
sale for like $60 a piece, which
Wow.
was
Hmm.
unheard of.
Uh-huh.
So he bought me two rocking chairs that sit out on the patio. And I mean, I get out there and I start rocking and I go right to sleep. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but it's very relaxing, just that back and forth motion
Right.
of
Right.
rocking.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
which is why babies, I think, like it because it
Hmm.
simulates being in
Hmm.
the womb and
Hmm.
just kind of floating. You get
Hmm.
that kind of floaty feeling. Um, I know, like you said, a lot of people like to go fishing to
Hmm.
relax.
Hmm.
When I lived near the beach years
Hmm.
ago, one of the things I loved was we used to buy the little short beach chairs that had the little short legs.
Uh-huh.
I used to love to go set it right up at the edge of the surf so that when you sat down, the water would break over your legs,
Uh-huh.
but not all the way up. And you could sit and read a book, a magazine, whatever, and just sit.
Uh-huh.
And that water coming up on your legs kept you cooled off.
Uh-huh.
I could do that for like all day long. I could just sit there all day long.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'm a
Uh-huh.
happy camper.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But
so
I
yeah, I
think we
mean,
need
there's
to know, I think we need to learn, or we need to ask ourselves what calms me down, what is peaceful to me. Because even if you've ever noticed, people who are get stressed, or if they have a crisis type situation, they start to pace. And when you pace, it sort of like calms you down because it's the bilateral stimulation of the mind. And
yeah,
people will do that a lot. Even well, I've known people that when they would get upset, if you've ever been around people like I've been around, if you're riding with them, they say, "Let me put me out, let me walk," and they'll get out there and walk. But it will calm a person down if you walk.
yeah. So I used to go walk a lot before I
Hmm.
got hurt, and now I just can't do it anymore.
Uh huh.
Um, and so I miss that activity of just getting able to,
Hmm.
to get out and walk
Yeah.
around.
Hmm.
I know when I'm sitting a lot of times online, my
Hmm.
chairs swivel, and so I tend to sit here and I'm doing this number, and I don't realize I'm doing it
Hmm.
until I hit replay to make sure everything's out okay. And I'm like, damn it, Sherry, you need to be still.
Right.
Arthur sits and swings his feet under his desk, and
Hmm.
so he looks like a bobblehead, because his head moves. And we were laughing at each other about that a couple of weeks ago.
Hmm.
Um, but there's all kinds of little things that we all do that help
Hmm.
de-stimulate, I guess
Uh-huh.
would be a good way to put it.
Hmm.
When you get overstimulated and you get all wound up,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
if there's stuff going around your house, you get, whether if it's good anxiety or bad anxiety,
Hmm.
it's just learning to recognize within yourself. when you're hitting that breaking point,
Right.
doing something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Isaac was saying, figure out what relaxes you, what calms
Mm-hmm.
you down. Is it
Mm-hmm.
listening to music? Is it going for a walk? Is it just
Mm-hmm.
sitting outside on your patio or something? Is it,
Mm-hmm.
watching a movie, taking a
Mm-hmm.
nap? I mean, there's all kinds of things that you
Right.
do that helps to relax you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's you turn the news off. That's a big one,
Yeah,
especially
that's a big one.
nowadays. I mean, you could watch maybe 15 minutes every two
Mm-hmm.
or 3 days and get the gist of what's going on
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
what's on fire and burning down right
Right.
now.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn it back off. Watch
Uh-huh.
don't watch TV at all, or put on an
Mm-hmm.
old movie, or
Mm-hmm.
watch a new movie.
Uh-huh.
Uh, there's all kinds. Whatever kind of stuff you like to watch, or get a
Mm-hmm.
good book, go sit and read a book. Um,
I know when you're being overstimulated, know when you're overextending.
yeah, yeah, that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Because
Go take a nap. You know,
right now, Sherry, I'm listening to what is it? Rachel Maddow, her
her
book
new book.
prequel. Yeah,
I
and
haven't gotten it yet. I'm on
it's
the
so
waiting list.
it's so interesting, but it overstimulates me. I think I get too worked up when I hear the things that were happening, and I
Yeah,
think it's like the empath thing is tapping into the feeling, and I have to just
yeah,
stop and
yeah,
and remind myself this isn't my feeling. This is, but Sherry, it's amazing that a lot of the things that they're saying in that book is the things that are happening to me.
yeah.
Same thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, Malcolm Nance, who's retired, he was military,
Uh-huh.
special. He was like an intelligence agent
Uh-huh.
in the
Right.
Navy
Uh-huh.
after serving regular for years
Uh-huh.
and years and years, and then he went into the spy business with
Uh-huh.
the Navy, and he was like undercover with Al Qaeda for like 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
That's amazing to me how he managed to do that and not get caught.
Right.
Because they would have killed him dead. Boom, that would have been it.
Right.
Um, but he wrote the first book by him I read was uh, oh crap, now I can't think of the name of it. Saving
Mm-hmm.
Democracy or something like that. But it came out. The book came out like 6 months before the
Mm-hmm.
election in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get the book until after the election.
Mm-hmm.
I started reading it, and it was like, oh my God, everything that's happened to this point, this man was describing in this book that he wrote 2 years ago. And it took
Right.
2 more years to edit it and get it to the publisher and get it out.
Right.
He since has written like four more books
Mm-hmm. I
that
haven't read any of his books.
kind of go with the first one, that talks about all this stuff and how they've managed to do certain things and whatnot. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
he is, for those of you, if you watch any political radio or listen or anything, there's the Stephanie Miller show that comes on every morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's a regular, like weekly regular. When the war in Ukraine started, he literally dug out his old uniform, all of his military stuff, boarded a plane, and flew to Ukraine to
Mm-hmm. I
join
knew
the
that.
army
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
and start helping them,
Mm-hmm.
train them and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he's in Greenland. I don't know what else is going on over there, but he's over there to set things in motion for them to protect themselves from us, you know, which there's a horrific thought. Um, but again, it's like I can only read or listen to so much of it, and then I have to walk away. I have to,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'll save it up for the days that I'm having a political show,
Mm-hmm.
So I need to know what's current.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll
Mm-hmm.
sit down and I'll watch several of the Midas Touch videos or
Mm-hmm.
some of Malcolm's videos because Malcolm has his own channel
Mm-hmm.
now and does
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Some of the others. And so I'll kind of like overload myself on all the information just so when
Mm-hmm.
we're doing the show, I kind of know what everybody's talking about
Mm-hmm.
because it's gotten to where I just can't watch it anymore. And I used to be a 24/7 news junkie.
Me
That's
too.
all I watched
Me too.
news. And since 2016, it's like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. It just,
Right. Uh-uh.
it
Mm-mm.
was, I had to stop watching it back then because my mom was still alive with a dementia
Mm-hmm.
and she thought it was like people in our house and this was happening right now to us and couldn't
Mm-hmm.
figure out. And so I had to limit what I watched until after she was asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then when after she passed and I found this community, it was like, God, this is so much more relaxing talking to these people than listening to that
Mm-hmm.
other crap. I mean, I literally, and then of course after January 6th, 2021, I was like, I can't do this
Mm-hmm.
anymore. I just
Right. Mm-hmm.
it was making my stress levels go up to a point
Yeah.
that I couldn't deal with
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And and yeah, I found myself getting angry all the time. And it's like, yeah, that's not healthy. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that's when kind of the idea for doing something like this kind of came up was like,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm not the only one stressed out. There's got to be
I
other people
know.
that need help too, and it's not just that, but it was the holiday stress and this kind of stress and that kind of stress. And we had a
The
pandemic we were dealing with. People were freaking
Yeah.
out about that, and now they're saying there's a real good chance we're going to have another one.
Wow.
Um, from what I've read and heard from some of the experts
Mm-hmm.
that are in that field, that we're like on the brink of having another one that's going to make COVID look like child's play. And I'm like, okay, that's scary as hell, and I sure don't want to think about that. But go. Uh, so you have to be careful to
Uh-huh.
monitor what information you're taking in,
Mm-hmm.
just so you can keep yourself from getting all stressed out.
Right. Right.
And hi, Sherry. We're talking about coping skills
Mm-hmm.
in any way, shape, or form. If you got an
Mm-hmm.
idea, put it in there. We'll pop it
Mm-hmm.
on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are
Yeah.
a lot of ways that we can protect our own mental health just
Right.
by knowing what upsets us and what doesn't, or how much of something we can watch or listen to before we have to turn off the recorder or
Right.
close the book and walk away,
Mm-hmm.
and say,
Right.
that's enough for today,
Right.
Um,
Uh-huh.
and
We
so,
have to know when we're going on overload because it doesn't serve us to just push through with situations like that. There's some things that we don't have to listen to. We can say, oh, I don't even discuss that with people. Have a good day and stuff like that. We have to know
yeah,
what works for us and what doesn't.
exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, matter of fact, you know what? I'll take those two pictures I showed earlier and I'll post them on the community tab.
Oh,
Where
okay.
I can just post them up as pictures and then y'all can go and,
Hmm.
you know, print it or download it or
Hmm.
whatever. And But yeah, I mean, there's
I saw something
coping.
on those
Go ahead.
pictures that you posted. The first one, it says check in with your feelings. I think that's a big one. Where is it at? I
Yeah,
saw it. Checking in with your
check in.
feelings with the
Yeah,
third on the top from the
yeah,
left.
yeah. In the pink,
Uh,
the happy face.
yes, we should all do that because, say, for instance, if I am listening to that book, and it's like I'm taking in too much of the negative energy. I have to know that this is making me. I have to know that identify that I'm starting to feel angry,
Yeah.
and why am I feeling angry? I'm just listening to this, and this was like back in the what 30s, 40s. And so I'm like getting angry over it. And I know I'm like, okay, that's about my limit. You know, I need to
Yeah.
stop listening. And
Yeah.
we all need to check in with our feelings so that we'll know it's if if it's our feelings or if we're feeling what's going on around the situation or what the people in the situation were feeling. Because a lot of times
Exactly. And
we're
if you look
naming these people, we're
too
tapping into
down
their
from
energy.
checking in with feelings, you got unplugging from technology.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, unplugging from
Oh,
technology.
there you go.
Mhm. Because there are people that are pushing
Yeah.
information toward us all the time that they want us to be aware of, and sometimes I'll see stuff and I'm, like, wanting to comment on it, and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna comment
Yeah.
on that."
I mean, I do the same. I mean,
Mhm.
I still will post stuff on Facebook, but
Uh-huh.
I don't post like I used to. Or I'll just share
Mhm.
something and I don't write anything at all. I just share the picture and
Mhm.
or the article. And because it's like, I really don't.
Mhm.
But again, I don't do nearly as much as I used
Mhm.
to simply
Mhm.
because I don't want to get into a 2 hour back and forth with somebody that, is going to take it personally.
Right.
Because I posted something that I think is correct. So I put it up on my Facebook page. But I
Mhm.
so rarely am on Facebook. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
normally I'm just keep up with
Mhm.
family on Facebook.
Really?
And so I don't do a whole lot of what do we got?
I think I got, and that was one of my self-care practices. I got off of Facebook. And I'm trying to remember when it was. I'm thinking it may have been like in 2016. It was like I was never like posting anything, but I started to see posts from people that I knew or that were like on the verge of all this meanness. And I'm like, the
Yeah.
people nowadays, the young people that I work with, they like, I just unfriended them and stuff like and I'm like,
Yeah.
I would have
It's
to
like the
I would have to start blocking these people, but it was like there was so much back and forth. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not gonna do
yeah. I mean, and I know people that have completely pulled out of like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter
Yeah. Yeah.
completely. It's like I
Yeah.
closed down my Twitter account
Did
back
you?
when Elon bought it and turned it into X, and I was like, yeah,
Okay.
I don't need that nonsense, and
Right.
I just shut
Mhm.
down my account. It's like, yeah, no.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, now I am on Blue Sky, uh,
Mhm.
but again, I don't like follow it religiously like I used to do with
Yeah.
Twitter and Instagram and
Mhm.
all that. I mean, I would
Mhm.
spend every spare moment scrolling and seeing what's there. I mean, now we have
Mhm.
TikTok and stuff, and it's like I have a
Mhm.
handful of people that when they release a TikTok, it'll notify me because I
Mhm.
know that most of what they publish is going to be something that is encouraging for people
Mhm.
and not bringing people down.
Mhm.
It's like I got to deal with enough of that crap already. I don't need to add to it. Um, so yeah, I mean it's Annette Dion. Yeah, she's really good. She has a good who was it? Innocent Potato put that up. She has a channel and
Mhm.
uh, she does some really good work with that. And uh, I know Arthur from Ease Your Mind. He does guided meditations.
Okay.
He does a lot of really good, and now he's started a series. I think they're like little 5 to 8 minute videos of
Mhm.
uh, tool tips for the day or something like that, and it'll just be a little something to help get you through something. Like, uh, when you need to be grounded, you sprinkle a little bit of sea salt in your shoes. And
Oh, okay.
it's like, okay, that's kind of odd, but
Mhm.
other people I know, I was like, oh yeah, we've been doing that for years. I'm like, I've never even heard of doing that. But again, it's just all depends on what you've already learned
Uh-huh.
and your willingness to share it. It's like people seem to be real eager to share things that are negative
Mhm.
as opposed to things that are positive.
Mhm.
So I think you have to find that dividing line for you
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
you can deal with it for a certain point and then you just got to turn
Mhm.
it off.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like that with music, with movies. I mean, because you can watch really dark and depressing movies or TV shows that will have the same effect on you as watching the news. Um, it's like, who wants to go there? Things are
Uh-huh.
bad enough in the real world. I don't want to watch
Mhm.
my make believe world be bad too. That's why I
Yeah.
like superhero movies because the good guy always wins.
Mhm.
And it's like, that makes me feel good. It's like, yeah, they go through
Mhm.
hell, but then the good guy wins in the end. So that's,
Uh-huh.
that's my fantasy is we win in
Uh-huh.
the end, which
Mhm.
I believe we will. It's
Mm.
just
Yeah.
want to be hell getting there.
Mhm.
That's what my guides keep telling me is that it's
Yeah.
going to get worse, y'all. It really is. It's going to get worse. We'll
Mhm.
probably lose more of our rights, and but we have the power to change that. We just have to. I mean, if the American people across the country actually
Mhm.
all stood up together and
Mhm.
said, "Okay, enough's enough,"
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
it would make drastic changes. If
Mhm.
all Americans that were registered to vote actually showed up at the voting booth and voted,
Mhm.
there would never be another Republican in office
Mhm.
because we far outnumber the negative side as opposed to
Mhm.
the positive side. It's just we just don't
Mhm.
get up and go vote. It's like
Mhm.
it doesn't do any good if you don't actually show up and do your vote. I mean, I know some countries they have mandatory voting. You can
Mhm.
get penalized or fined if you don't.
Australia.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Australia is one of them. And yeah, maybe that's something we need to look into. Is
Mhm.
that when you hit 18 and you automatically get registered and
Mhm.
you're sent notification when it's time to vote and you have to show up and vote. But
Mhm.
it would eliminate voter fraud because
Mhm.
everybody would have to vote. So it's not like you could go running around pretending to be other people and vote in their
Uh-huh.
name.
Mhm.
But again, it's knowing when to step away from the things that make you a little crazy to cope with what's happening in the world today because we're all kind of uh, stressing out on stuff. Uh, so yeah, I've watched Annette Innocent Potato. She's got a really good channel.
I'm
Uh,
writing. That's what I'm writing down.
you're writing it down.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah, she's really good. When Deborah Lupien did that 24-hour marathon thing,
Uh-huh.
Annette was on several times during the course of that. She wrote one of the songs that they played for that she wrote for them to use. Um, so that was kind of cool. But
Mhm. I
it's
like the idea of the delete button on the forehead, innocent potato. I think I'm going to use that.
what was
She
that
says
about on the forehead?
she imagines that if somebody says something like she, that's off-putting or that she doesn't want to hear, she just has an imaginary delete button on her forehead.
Oh yeah, there you go. That works. Yeah, Whatever you got to do.
I'm gonna put that in place of rolling my
Yeah.
eyes.
Control Alt Delete. King, it's gone.
I'm
That's
gonna,
great. But yeah, I
I'm gonna
mean,
put it in place of rolling my eyes.
um, or the fact that people, the hand to the forehead thing, and
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
it's there are ways that you can take what's negative and turn it into a positive by making
Mm-hmm.
fun of it, making
Mm-hmm.
people laugh about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, but sometimes even that doesn't work for me, just simply because
Mm-hmm.
it's just been too much, so
Mm-hmm.
I have to back out and
Mm-hmm.
I go watch Dark Shadows or something like that. I mean, something really old, and back when people had problems like how to get the stains out of the shirts that they wash,
Right, right.
crazy things like that. How do I get dinner done on time for my whole family who comes home?
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, well, why aren't you working to let your husband cook the meal?
Uh-huh.
That was unheard of back then. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
I remember, you remember that TV show Family Affair? It was the uncle with two little kids and a teenage girl that were like his sister's kids or something. And his sister
Uh-huh.
died, and he took the kids. A,
Yeah.
a British butler
Yeah, I
that
remember that.
took care of the household. And
I remember that.
that was just like so unheard of that it was a man running the house
Uh-huh.
and doing the cooking and helping to raise the kids.
Uh-huh.
That yeah, I can remember. It was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. We watched it all the time, but I can remember hearing people talking about, with that. Yeah, but that's a man doing that. Why
Mm-hmm.
didn't they have a woman come in and be
Uh-huh.
the nanny or the cook or whatever? And
Uh-huh.
I can remember thinking, well, what's wrong with the man doing it? He seems
Uh-huh.
to be pretty good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
but it's getting rid of those stereotypes that
Jody
we
Buffy and Mr. French. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Fritz, that was his name. It's not the actor's name, but that was the character's name.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, Jodie Buffy and Mr. French. And Sissy. Sissy was the oldest one.
Uh-huh.
She was the teenager. She was like 15 or 16 or 17, something like that. Um, but what's that? Oh, I hear you, innocent potato. I'm in a MAGA controlled state. MAGA governor, MAGA House, MAGA Senate. And that's just the state
Yeah.
levels. It's also the
Mm-hmm.
federal levels.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Isaac knows what that's like. He's my next door neighbor. His state's
Yeah.
just as bad.
But you know
Except
what
y'all
I'm
may have more dim people in your government than we do in ours.
maybe well, I think we do, but
Yeah,
I think a lot of the people I used to work in a treatment facility, and peer pressure would guide a lot of people's behavior. And I think that's what I see a lot of. A lot of these people are just going along because that's what they're expected to do. And I'm
yeah,
starting to see some people sort of wake up, and because sharing most people that I run into, you don't hear anybody saying anything about Republican or MAGA or anything. I'm
yeah,
thinking it's just that they're going along to get along, and those would be the people who would be voting against their own best interests.
right. Just like there are
Yeah.
people that are totally ignorant to what has happened, what he's responsible for, what they're
Right.
doing, and it's like your ignorance
Hmm. Hmm.
is not good. You
Hmm.
need to. You don't vote one way just because your mama did it, your daddy did it, your grandparents did it, your great
Right.
grandparents did it. And that's the way they
Right.
always voted. That's the
Right.
way you vote. Well, that's kind of
Hmm.
stupid. That
Right.
reminds me of what my grandmother used to say to us. Well, if all your friends jump off the bridge, are you going to join them? And it'd be like,
Right.
no, I'm not stupid enough to jump off the bridge. Well,
Right.
but that was her point. It's like,
Uh-huh.
are you just going to follow along and do the same stupid thing everybody else is doing, or are you going to think for yourself?
A lot
And
of
so,
people are doing that.
Stephen Dalton, I don't think I've heard of him. And I'll have to look him up. Does he have a channel? Purple Moon. If he has a channel, put his channel in there.
Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't heard of it.
um, but I've not heard of him. I'm gonna have to go look for him. I mean, I listen to. Uh, they have like sleep videos
Mm-hmm.
you can put up on YouTube. That's just music, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they'll have like pictures fade in and out. Sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
just the same picture. But there are some that's like listening to a rainstorm hitting
Right.
a tin
Mm-hmm.
roof,
Mm-hmm.
because that makes a different sound than hitting a shingled roof
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to a tin roof. That rain makes a different sound when it hits it. And I grew up under a tin roof, and that relaxes me when I hear that. Or thunderstorms with the thunder and the lightning and the rain. It's like, boy, that'll put me right out. Also, there's a lot of them that's Native American flute music
Uh-huh.
that they'll do, some with rain sounds, some with desert sounds, some with no
Yeah.
sound, just the music.
Mm-hmm.
Tibetan music that just
Uh-huh.
plays, for
Mm-hmm.
12, 13, 14 hours. All kinds of things. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a wide variety of stuff like that I usually have that on at night on
Mm-hmm.
my computer down
Mm-hmm.
kind of low, and that's what I go to sleep to is
Mm-hmm.
is listening to that because
Mm-hmm.
it relaxes me. You have a lot of it now that with just kind of ambient electronic type music. It's not like somebody actually playing. I'm sure it's all computer
Mm-hmm.
generated, but it's done at certain hertzes so that it will affect your brain at different levels. Some is to
Mm-hmm.
create deep sleep, some is to
Mm-hmm.
create
Yeah.
relaxation, some is to help you
Mm-hmm.
move past pain that you may be feeling. I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
just all kinds of stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there are people that do the singing bowls, the big
Yeah.
singing bowls things that play, and you can put that on and it'll play all night long. Um, so,
Mm-hmm.
anything to help block out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for years I used to go to sleep with the news on and or the Weather Channel on, which
Mm-hmm.
isn't much better because you're hearing about horrible weather across the country or across the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody somewhere is always having something and happening to them weather-wise,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally just had to quit that, and I started listening to the meditation type music.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like synthesizer type hertz. So many hertz for this and so many hertz for
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
or it's flute music like the Native
Mm-hmm.
American flute music or the Tibetan flute music, or there's
Yeah.
drumming ones. There's those with just storms. There's those
Uh-huh.
that are waves crashing on the shore. Some people
Uh-huh.
enjoy hearing that. It's whatever you need to do to help you
Mm-hmm.
be able to get into that deeper resting sleep
Right.
level.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
into a REM level so that your body is actually resting and
Mm-hmm.
healing itself,
Mm-hmm.
because that's one of the ways we heal
Mm-hmm.
from things is our body
Mm-hmm.
sleeps,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
peace that promotes healing. So
Mm-hmm.
uh but yeah, so
I want to comment about something that Amanda
oh
wrote
man, what
about.
number? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
is that she
I
starts, oh
think.
my gosh.
Yeah. I think she's onto something. That's a real thing, and I don't know what it is. I've been trying to figure it out. It's almost like a
They're
sort
more
of an
susceptible
anger.
to cult.
Yeah, it's like they're like primed for it, and I don't know if it's the way. AA works or what, but or the way addiction works, I think it's like they have a suspicion of everything almost, or
Yeah.
they have a suspicion and the MAGA stuff feeds into the suspicion because they're open to trash talking anybody. And some people
Yeah.
feel like if you are negative about somebody, I have to go along with you. It takes a lot to say, I don't know that person like that, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about them with you. They tend to go along with it. And they
Right.
say stuff like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah. And it's hard because those that have had addictions in the past that have broken them,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that helps them break it is to learn what it is that triggers them to go and drink or take drugs or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Um, Part of your healing process is learning what is your trigger
Mm-hmm.
that's going to create you to get up and go and search
Mm-hmm.
for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's an important coping mechanism with knowing what I can and cannot do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a recovering alcoholic, you're not going to go hang with the guys at the bowling alley and everybody's
Mm-hmm.
drinking beer all night.
Mm-hmm.
That's just that's
Mm-hmm.
torturing your own self, and you stand a
Mm-hmm.
much better chance of, oh
Mm-hmm.
well, one beer won't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
One leads to two, leads to a six pack or two, and
Mm-hmm.
before you know it, you're right back in that rat race again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so again, it's learning what works with you as far as being able to detach
Mm-hmm.
from that which causes you stress or anxiety
Mm-hmm.
or anger or anything like that, and then replacing it with something that's going to make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where a lot of people miss out. Am I wrong in this, Isaac? That when you take away something, if you want to keep it away, you have
Mm-hmm.
to find a replacement of some
Mm-hmm.
kind to
Mm-hmm.
replace that action. If
Uh-huh.
you're a smoker,
Uh-huh.
then a surefire way to help you break that habit is to
Mm-hmm.
take on something else that uses your hands so that you're not that hand to
Uh-huh.
mouth
Right.
action. You know,
Uh-huh.
um, you have to do something else with your hands to break that
Mm-hmm.
habit. Uh, uh, Same with drinking or doing drugs. I mean, it's like you have to, in a lot of ways, have to cut yourself off from the people that you hung out with that did that because they're still doing it and they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do their damnedest
Mm-hmm.
to talk you into joining them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, my husband was a recovering alcoholic. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
watched him after he
Mm-hmm.
quit. I watched him
Mm-hmm.
battling for years,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hard. And he wound up cutting himself off
Mm-hmm.
just about all of his friends that he had.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple that that
Mm-hmm.
understood and
Mm-hmm.
actually
Mm-hmm.
relied on him to help them not go
Mm-hmm.
back down the
Right.
road again. Um, so that's where seeking counseling can help.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can do it with the help of friends or family.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can do it with the help of a pastor or
Mm-hmm.
a mentor of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's to a level that you need to speak to a
Mm-hmm.
professional, somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's trained in helping you through those situations and helping
Mm-hmm.
you face it and deal with
Mm-hmm.
it and move
Mm-hmm.
on.
Mm-hmm. But don't you think that people get addicted because they're truly searching for happiness?
Yeah.
Because
There's
nobody
something
starts.
missing in them,
Well,
or they think there's
that
something missing in them.
a lot of people have had situations, or maybe the way they think about things. What I'm seeing just in myself, you know, I live a better life when I let go. Most of us tend not to let go. We want to figure out, why did this happen? Why did I lose this person? Why did this person go away? Why did this happen to me? We stick with the why. We will do better. But people are addicted to happiness. They're not addicted to the, yeah, they are physically addicted to the drug, with alcohol, but they're using it to try to be happy.
Yeah.
When the way to be
Or
happy
to
is to
cover up a hurt. Yeah.
let go. If you start letting go of things and not holding on to them, which is
Yeah.
really self-care, you're
Yeah.
investing in yourself, then you can focus most of your energy on yourself. And sometimes we get in these situations where, like we're talking about the people who may be in an addiction and they become MAGA because they want to be validated. They want somebody to say, yeah, you're right. And I
Yeah.
think, but it's going to be individual for everybody because, of course, not all people who have addictions follow MAGA, but some people do.
Well,
And it's
and
just
there have been neurologists and stuff who have done extensive like brain scanning and whatnot
mm-hmm,
of, say, conservative minded people to
mm-hmm,
non conservative minded people, and they find that there's vast differences in their brain and how their brain
mm-hmm,
operates. It's like those that tend to be very legalistic as
mm-hmm,
far as, thank you, you got my card?
mm-hmm,
Those that, that tend to be, thank you, baby, have a good evening, who tend to be very legalistic about everything and
mm-hmm,
whatnot, um, they say that their brain doesn't function the same way as everybody else.
mm-hmm,
Those that like go deep into a religion to the point of like cult status,
mm-hmm,
their brains work differently
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
than everybody else's. And
mm-hmm.
so that's kind of scary when you think about it, that
Yeah.
sometimes it makes you think, well, maybe they can't help themselves because their
Mm-hmm,
brain is different. So
mm-hmm,
part of what I read in this report that I was reading was that they don't know if the brain becomes that way because of their choices and what they follow
mm-hmm,
and what they do, or did they do that because their brain was already that way?
mm,
So which came first, the chicken or the
mm.
egg? That's
Yeah.
basically what they're trying to determine. So it'll be
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see where it takes us. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because a lot of people are saying that they're making progress toward like they're going to be like what is that? CRISPR technology that's
yeah,
going to like sort of eliminate addiction.
that's what they're saying, that they'll
And
be
I'm
able to
waiting for
go in
that.
and because they found that most addictions are a hereditary trait. You're
Mm-hmm.
like born with the gene for that. If they can go in and correct that before you're even born, then Um, so I mean, a lot of that's over my head. I really don't know. I've heard rumors about it. I've heard people talk
Mm-hmm.
about it, but
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think
believe it.
it's just, yeah, the pain pleasure center in the brain. It's like
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, alcohol makes you feel like you're the smartest, the toughest, the meanest in the world. Not
Mm-hmm.
it takes away whatever pain you're masking, and it makes you
Mm-hmm.
feel emboldened and you know
Mm-hmm.
nobody can beat me down. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you get addicted to it, it completely turns around, and it's the whole cause of
Yeah.
you being that way. Um, so yeah, if you don't have someone to talk to, I mean, we've got a really good community here where a lot of people just sit and talk to each other,
Right.
and that's a big help. Uh, there's a lot of online help now you can get if you need
Mm-hmm.
professional help. Perhaps you go to a church or some kind of religious type thing where you have a pastor that's really good at helping people with that
Mm-hmm.
without being all screwed up themselves. You got to kind of be careful of that nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And all in all, I mean, if nothing else, you can, what is it, 1-800, what was that? There used to be a toll free number you could call for like emotional distress.
Hmm. I don't
Um,
know.
I can't think of what it was. It was like 1-800
Mm-hmm.
get help or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, there are ways you can get assistance or get information to help somebody else get
Right.
assistance.
Mm-hmm.
All you gotta do is go to the Google machine. It's gonna tell you. I mean, and then just do some a little bit of research on it. I mean, that's one great thing about the internet is all the knowledge we could want is right there at our
Yeah.
fingertips.
Yeah.
Just are we using it for good or for evil?
Right.
You know, and
Mm-hmm.
are we being Batman or are we being the Penguin? I mean, which one are you using? So, all right. Well, we're over an hour now. We're at an hour and 6 minutes. And I know Isaac has things he has to get to. I have another show I have to get to. Y'all have things you have to get to. Thank you very much for joining us. Like we said at the beginning, this is
Yes.
our last episode for the summer. And then come September, we're going to revisit. Isaac and I will get back together and see where we're going to go from here. And we'll see what
Uh-huh.
happens next. But in the meantime, enjoy your summer. Thank you, Isaac, for going on this journey with me. And we'll see what happens in the future.
I've enjoyed it.
That's good. That's good. I have to. So it's nice when you have someone you feel very strongly as your friend join you in
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
It makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, So, y'all have a great Sunday. If you're in America, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend with your long holiday. And
Yes.
um, we will see everybody whenever. You know, I'll be on tomorrow night, Wednesday. So you'll see me. Don't worry, I'm around. And we'll
Okay.
see Isaac every now and again when I drag him out, kicking and screaming from
Yes.
his greenhouse and come talk.
Right.
So we'll go
Right.
from there. And all right, y'all, have a great evening. We will talk to everybody soon. Have a wonderful summer. So,
Yes.
okay, bye for now.
Bye.